Thank you, Father Ramana, for really opening up your lights to the whole world, so that all beings may come in to return from the deep sleep of ignorance and to come home to the bright light of the sun. Thank you, Father Ramana. Thank you, Father Babaji, who brought this light into the marketplace of the world, so that all beings could see and come home to the Supreme Self. Om
Thank you, my dear. I did have some trouble getting in today because it said forbidden. If any of you are watching from YouTube and are having trouble getting in, you have to use a different browser. Just use Safari. If you've been using Chrome, use a different one. Thank you all so very much for joining Satsang today. Bye-bye. That's what God wants. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai. Still here. Let's sing a song. I think it is one of the two things. Not sure which one comes first. Either it's welcome or thank you. What I was feeling to do today actually is I came across this very nice translation of the Ashtavakra Gita by Bart Marshall. It's very beautiful. I just was skimming through it yesterday. So I felt I could read a little bit from this. You like Ashtavakra?
Yeah, it's a system.
Hey, came closer. So today I'm actually going to listen. Okay, so this is the translator's introduction. I feel to read the intro also. It's very nice. That is an ancient spiritual document of great purity and power. Pure because it is relentlessly one-pointed. Every word is aimed at triggering self-realization. No suggestions for self-improvement, no rules for moral behavior, no practical wisdom for daily life. Powerful because the mere reading or repeated reading of it can be enough to send the right mind reeling into truth. Little is known about the Ashtavakra Gita. Ashtavakra is a name that appears in Indian lore, but almost certainly he did not write it. These are not my words, I'm just reading what the introduction is. The author, likely an anonymous sage, merely uses the characters of Ashtavakra and King Janaka to set up a classic dialogue between Guru and disciple. It quickly becomes a Guru-Guru dialogue. However, because after the first salvo of wisdom from Ashtavakra, Janaka realizes his true self. And from then on, they get into an Advaitic jam session of the highest sort. Just a couple of things coming up to say about this. One is that this is the first time actually I'm reading something like the author saying that it is not actually Ashtavakra and Janaka in the dialogue. I've heard this many times about the Bhagavad Gita because everyone said at least it cannot be on the battlefield, that the war was about to start and then these two took like a good amount of time and say, give us a few minutes, we're sorting something out.
So I recently saw this translation of Mahabharata from Karan's perspective, and
The mic?
there was this interpretation of Mahabharata from Karan's perspective, and in that what they beautifully showed was when they showed it in a mythological way.
Yeah.
Before starting this thing with Arjuna, Krishna just moves his finger and stops time. So it's not that the battle is about to begin and they're talking.
Yeah, actually froze time.
So now that what is the metaphor of beyond time and where they're talking and all of that? Even towards the end when Karan is about to die, he does that again.
Yeah.
He says certain things I cannot explain to you here. So he does that again, freezes time, and then he says, here the Atma can talk to Atma. That metaphor.
It's very beautiful. Beyond time and space. So Ashtavakra actually, whatever little I know about him, is famous also in India because Ashtavakra means the 8 contractions or the 8, what is the right word? Huh? Crippled at 8 places or contortion in some way, bent in 8 places. So 8 places he was bent. And he's known as that sage who was bent, his body was completely convoluted because it was bent at 8 places. And Janaka also we speak about in Satsang sometimes. Because Guruji has this example of telling everyone that everyone wants the Janaka style enlightenment. What does it mean? So Janaka was a king. He was a king and he was an enlightened sage. So somewhere, the Guruji also speaks that one of the fear that came for him, that he's going to be a hunchback beggar on the streets of Brixton after he becomes free or something like this. He was going to be like Quasimodo, he says sometimes, that he'll be begging on the street. So this fear can come. And because this fear can come, We can have this idea that I want that the Janaka had. I want to be the king of my kingdom. I want to have my attachments and also be free. So in this we'll discover what Janaka's true attitude was, whether there was any attachment to the kingdom also. We'll find out. Actually, I read the Ashtavakra Gita many years ago. And otherwise it's just been a few bits here and there. So let's see what it reveals. Then he says, because of this, some translators have done away with the dialogue format and attributed everything to Ashtavakra. Indeed, since all the verses of the Ashtavakra Gita exist at the highest possible level of spoken wisdom, it would appear meaningless to attribute some to the teacher and some to the newly enlightened disciple. There is nevertheless a storyline set up in the Ashtavakra Gita, and for me it goes something like this. Chapter 1. It all starts when King Janaka asks the sage Ashtavakra how he can attain knowledge, detachment, liberation. And Ashtavakra tells him. Chapter 2. It works. Upon hearing Ashtavakra's words, Janaka realizes his true nature. Enraptured, he describes the joy and wonder of his new state. Chapter 3, Ashtavakra is delighted for Janaka, but sees inconsistencies. He fires off a series of confrontational verses about attachment to worldly pleasure. This is what we were talking about. Chapter 4, Janaka asserts that the Lord of the universe can do as he pleases. Chapter 5, Ashtavakra does not disagree, but in a terse 4 verses points to the next step, dissolution. Janaka says, I know that already, matching him in style and number of verses. Chapter 7, unable to leave it at that, however, Janaka goes on to further describe his enlightened state. Chapter 8, still too much I in Janaka's language. Ashtavakra instructs him in the subtleties of attachment and bondage. Chapter 9, Ashtavakra continues to describe the way of true detachment. Chapter 10, Ashtavakra hammers away at the folly of desire, no matter how elevated or subtle. Chapter 11, Ashtavakra further describes the state of desirelessness to which he points. Okay, this is full. There are many chapters. Let's start. So chapter 1 is instruction on self-realization. So it starts with Janaka. The first verse goes, Master, how is knowledge to be achieved? Detachment acquired, liberation attained. And we'll relax a bit through all the verses. We can go slowly. You see, because what are we really saying? It says it's an instruction on self-realization. And what is the question? How is knowledge to be achieved? Detachment acquired and liberation attained. So is this a way of the sage to describe what his idea of self-realization actually is? 2 aspects. Basically, acquiring true knowledge and detachment, hence leading to liberation. And he uses knowledge with a capital K. So what is the difference between small k knowing and capital K knowing? In Sanskrit, there's no, I'm sure there was not a capitalization possible. But at least in the translation, we've used a capital K. So, is the mic? Yeah. Let me just repeat the verse for everyone. The verse is, Janaka said, Master, how is knowledge to be achieved, detachment acquired, and liberation attained? So knowledge with the capital K.
Knowledge with the capital K. Self-knowledge, direct knowledge, and verses with the Small K, meaning conceptual knowledge.
Take an example. What would be conceptual knowledge versus what would be direct?
An idea about anything really about who you are, what something is, coming to a conclusion about something. Conceptual knowledge is only through kind of like, for an example, I have this body.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of true right now, but it's bound by time and it will go. So it's not absolutely. I don't know if that's possible.
Is there also a difference between this kind of knowledge, which is based on just the interpretation, a very direct interpretation of what is being seen, versus just like spiritual knowledge or just ideas that we might have about ourselves? So there could be this idea that the universe or the distance from here to the sun is 10 light years, for example. So this can be an idea that we have, either we learned it from someone or a credible source, and there's a direct perceiving that this body is here. So that's an interpretation of this. And how would this capital K knowledge differ from both of these types of knowledge? One is just purely conceptual, second is an interpretation of what is seen, and that which you call self-knowledge, what would that look like?
That would be something that has to be constant always.
Very good. Very good.
Father, the mics are not connected.
Mic is not effective? No.
Connected.
Not connected. And how is it now? Is it better now?
No,
No?
no.
Okay, checking now. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, we start from the beginning. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so you were talking about the instruction on self-realization, which is the first chapter of the Ashtavakra Gita, where Janaka said, Master, how is knowledge to be achieved, detachment acquired, and liberation attained? So what is this knowledge with a capital K? It must be pointing to that which is true, the truth. So what is it that we can truly say is the truth? What can we define as the truth? Because this is the only kind of knowledge which will point directly. So that which is unchanging, timeless, which is unchanging, and verifiable. No? What is the point of that which cannot be found directly? You see? Otherwise, if it is not directly verifiable, then it is just like saying that the earth is so much distance away from the sun. You see? We cannot directly verify it, at least not right now, without the instruments. You see? So this ability to find this true knowledge for ourselves must be important, you see. So we are moving away from conceptual knowledge with a small k and moving towards direct recognition of the truths, coming to the knowledge of who we are in the most direct way. So this is knowledge. This is knowledge which I'm presuming that Janaka wanted. The second thing he said was detachment acquired. Who can speak a little bit about detachment?
So it feels like detachment is allowing everything to come and go.
Yes. Yes. So what would attachment be?
Attachment is when you believe what the mind is offering as an alternative to what it already is.
Yes. Very simply, sometimes also I describe in satsang that attachment is to believe that something that is appearing in this realm is me or mine. So to say that this is me or it is mine, which even to say mine actually implies that there is a me first to be able to call it mine. So this must be attachment to say that this belongs to me, a sense of ownership, my life, my family, my relationships, my money, my spirituality, my freedom. You see? So attachments can be possible only when something seems like it is mine. You see? You see? So how is knowledge to be achieved, detachment acquired, and liberation attained? So to be free from this. See?
When the seeker asks the master that how is the knowledge to be attained?
Yes.
And if by knowledge he means the knowledge, the definition that Petri gives, that after knowing which the knowledge which is absolute. So to know the absolute knowledge, the knower of the knowledge, the reference point must also be absolute. But from the seeker's perspective, it isn't clear because anything which is seen seems to be in fluctuation.
Yes.
So how can a seeker be sure that the reference point from where he wants to start the knowledge? Because like everything, like for example, if we consider the dream state, then whatever, even the sense of that I exist, that the world exists, everything on the waking up appears that all of it was an illusion. So the reference point itself is not clear. Then is the journey meaningful and productive?
So once
something like that.
Once the seeker has come to the master, then it is the master's job to figure out what is the seeker's reference point and take him from there. Whatever the vantage point might be, the reality or the truth is one, isn't it? So then it is a master's job. So let's see what happens with Janaka, whether it is understood what his vantage point was and what Ashtavakra tells him to do.
Also, is it possible that truth really exists? For example, in this universe, everything is in motion.
Yes.
And even though everything is motion, we still have the concept of object being in rest and object being in motion from the relative velocity, these kind of things. So even the truth, does it exist?
Yeah. That's what we're finding out. Okay, so he said, this knowledge to be achieved, detachment acquired, and liberation attained. See, so what must this liberation be then? You see, we said knowledge, which is the direct self-recognition, and detachment, which is the letting go of all our attachments. And we've spoken about this in satsang often, isn't it? To recognize the truths and to drop the conditioning, both imply liberation. Just the recognition, a momentary recognition sometimes is not enough to drop all conditioning. And it is, at least I have not come across a case where conditioning can be dropped without the recognition of what is true happening. Some conditioning can be dropped, but not all, or a majority of it cannot be dropped unless there is a valid recognition. So it seems like the first two are the prerequisites for the third. You see? How is knowledge to be achieved, which means the direct self-recognition to be found, and detachment acquired, which is the dropping of the conditioning. So how do we that? So Ashtavakra then says, to be free, shun the experiences of the senses like poison. Turn your attention to forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, simplicity, truth. He says to be free, shun the experiences of senses like poison. Turn your attention to forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, simplicity, truth. I have to be honest and say that this one paragraph in the Ashtavakra Gita seems like it's an insert later. You see, because this is the only seemingly dual kind of paragraph. Maybe it is ramping up the getting the minds ready for what is coming next after this. So this one, I just feel like we can, in our Sangha, we can just ignore. Yeah. Yeah.
When we were in Tyria and we went to see Ma, is it Devaki?
Yeah.
She was also speaking very much like this, like turn your mind towards like being kind and caring and loving. And so I don't know. I mean, also for me, this sounds not like the ultimate, but I don't know. I just
Okay, let's see what happens next, and then see if this has any relevance to that. So verse number 3, you are not earth, water, fire or air, nor are you empty space. Liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone, the witness of these. So he jumps straight in. No? He's saying you're not earth, water, fire or air. So in Indian education, in our Indian tradition, the world is made up of these elements: earth, water, fire, air and space. So he's saying, the sage is saying, you are neither earth, nor water, nor fire, nor air. And then the mind has this tendency, many times in satsang also we see, isn't it, that we start imagining some like empty dark space or black space or some room full of white light is what we are. So nor are you that empty space. It's important that he mentioned that line very clearly. So I feel we are clear that we cannot be the elements of this realm, and neither are we the empty space. Liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone, the witness of these. Very good. So even this space, many times we visualize a space when we are in the inquiry, but who is that is aware of even this space? This awareness is the true reality of what I am. So when we ask the question, are you aware now? It brings us here, you see, to see that this awareness which is here, which is just the witness of all of these elements, but is not made up of any of these elements. It's important to read also that liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone. You see, this is what I've been pointing to also the last few weeks, that sometimes we come to the discovery of awareness as if it is something external to us. Oh, nothing is happening to awareness, but what about me? You see? I have seen this awareness, but what about my life? Will it get better? You see? So still sometimes in our inquiry, in our satsang, it can be that we come to a recognition of this awareness, but something still, the mind still keeps alive the sense of a separate identity, which is coming to the discovery of awareness. You see? So it is important to know, liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone. That's why I've offered you this question, who is aware even of awareness? Okay. And this, I feel, at least right now, if you find a way to escape even this question, then I'll find another question for you. Okay. But at least right now it feels like You cannot truly escape the discovery that I am this awareness. Even prior to I am this awareness. So to know yourself as awareness alone. He's not saying come to the discovery of awareness. Many times in Advaita Satsang, this is what's happening. We come to it as if it is another experience. You must be able to find that it is I that which is this awareness. The I before the I am or the I, this I is the I that remains, you see, as Bhagavan said. Any confusion about this one? So I feel we can leave that second one behind, not worry so much about it. Then he says, abide in awareness with no illusion of person. You will be instantly free and at peace. How does one abide in awareness? The sage says, abide in awareness with no illusion of person. You will be instantly free and at peace. So for me, I would read the second one very importantly, which is with no illusion of person. I feel that the abiding in awareness is our natural state anyway. The only delusion or the only play is this play of being a person. So how do we play this play? We play this play only believing ourselves to be an object within this realm, believing ourselves to be a separate entity. You see, person means what? He's not saying with no illusion of body. He's saying with no illusion of person, because the body illusion or reality, whatever you like to call it, can still appear. So what is this person? This is a pure imagination. It is a pure construct made up of our beliefs. You see? So to abide in awareness with no illusion of person, you will be instantly free and at peace. You can actually just stop here. Because he says you will be instantly free and at peace. If you were just to not fall for the illusion of a person, and we already being in satsang, we know that to abide in awareness is just happening on its own. Can you be unaware? Cannot be. So just this abiding is a natural part. We don't have to, many of us make this mistake of trying to become the awareness, you see. We're trying hard to become the awareness. Can I get myself to be the awareness? But in that we've already picked up the illusion of personhood. You see. Right? So the dropping of the illusion of the person is already the abiding in awareness, because you are aware now. In fact, it would be impossible for you not to be aware. So if I was to say abide in the unawareness, that would be impossible, you see. To abide in awareness is the most natural state. But we have the power, as we know, we have the power to believe ourselves to be a person. This is the illusion of personhood. See? So he says, to abide in awareness with no illusion of person, you will be instantly free and at peace. So what about conditioning then? Because we've spoken about this, isn't it? What about conditioning then? But even to pick up conditioning requires this, isn't it? The illusion of person, without picking that up right now, can you pick up any conditioning? Very often we've said in satsang that it's all about the right now. Even right now, if you don't tug at the leaf of conditioning, a thought about yourself as a person, you see, then the whole tree has no power over you. You see? So in this moment, right now, you are free. This is what we say in satsang every day. Right now, you are free. You start free. Freedom is not a destination that you're going to. Like I read something very beautiful also from Adya today, where he said, what are you going to do right now to pretend to be unenlightened? I'm paraphrasing. What are you going to do right now to pretend to be unenlightened? That is the real question. What are you going to pick up from the conveyor belt of the mind? Yes, take the mic.
I looked and somehow it seems that there are these things that I just need to burn many times. Because when it seems that some conditionment is burning, and it comes like another different wives.
Yes.
And it came with my mother phoning me, and he's trying to talk for 2 days, and in fact it comes so strong. And just this perhaps I need to share, because sometimes my mind, I am so naive, and I don't know many times where mind is finished and when begins awareness. And just yesterday I get that I cannot change the person and become like a nice person to my family, because there are too much resentment. And independent what it will happen here, they will not change as persons. So because sometimes I had this expectation, I came to the Sangha with this expectation, and well, I'm finding the Sangha because we are going to a different level, and in this level there are some love that is coming and some openness, and somehow it's so difficult to know how I will do. I cannot change this rule. So my mother cannot respect me or receive the respect and the love I have for my masters, and also this hurt me, and it comes like, and they found I am stupid, and it comes my arrogance, and they are so stupid. I found I cannot change nothing about him. So this thing of be aware and allow, for instance, my mother will go, because there are sometimes these synchronicities. My mother will go through a medical intervention, and he is afraid of die during the retreat in Pune. And oh my gosh, also in my retreat. And the ego comes saying, but I will have the right of be alone in silence. And something is saying, no, you can just be detached and make just a fun. It's this thing that is coming like different. I cannot change nothing. Just let burn the identification, because it hurts so much.
I'm happy you brought up these points, because for those of you who may be joining Satsang for the first time also might not understand what we mean by person, you see. So it's good to clarify this. And also then we'll talk about your point about, remind me if I forget to talk about it, about changing the person. What does it mean? So I'll talk about that also. But what is this person? You see? Person, like often we've said, is just a bundle of beliefs. You see? We had these ideas about ourselves. My life should be this way, this way, this way. I'm a very honest person. I'm a very right person. I'm a very outspoken person. I don't stand for injustice. You see? We can have all of these attributes, right, honest, truthful, righteous, all these attributes we've collected in our basket of beliefs. And it seems like the sum total of all of these beliefs, all that we've collected, makes up what we call the person. You see? When somebody talks to me like this, I talk like this. Somebody says, you see? So all of these ideas that we've had about this imaginary entity that we've collected together and created a basket of personhood. You see? Now, what would it mean to change the person? The person does change. You see, because 10 years ago, if I was to ask you what kind of person are you, suppose we were not in satsang, you would say, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm like this. 10 years later, at least for most of us, when that change happens, we say, what kind of person are you? You'll find that some attributes have been dropped and some new ones have been picked up. Okay? So we can go from I'm very religious to I am very spiritual. Okay? Sometimes the changes can happen like this. So the changes in person, in the idea of ourselves can happen, but that is not what satsang is for. You see, here we are trying to see what is there in the basket which I really need to keep, and we keep throwing everything out. You see, we keep throwing everything, every attribute, everything that I've said about myself. Like often I've said that anything that we say after I am is a lie, is a story. You see? Because this I am is appearing as pure beingness itself, as pure consciousness itself. After that, is just this ability to pretend to be a person. You see, pretend to be personal by giving this I am some attribute. So you remain fresh. Don't put anything after I am. You see? Then
I don't have
not
this
even,
ability yet, Father.
yeah, don't even say that yet. Don't even say that yet, because the mind will say, I don't have this ability yet. But actually, to pick up, even to say this, you had to believe this first, isn't it? First, the mind has to offer you something. Then you have to say, yes, this is true for me, this is meaningful, or this has value. And then it becomes a belief. What if you lost this, that you would not be able to say anything after I am? So someone comes and says, how are you today? I am.
Yes, today there are no mother, there are no family in this
Like
moment.
that. Like we don't even have to say those things. Just I am. You see? Then, are you going on the retreat? I don't know. I am. Not conversationally, you see, but with that attitude, because we know that, yes, yeah, to be completely fresh from all of this baggage. Yes, family. Yes. So, what are the main? It's good that we are discussing this, because person can be looked at more closely also. What are the main things that can bother a person? There are just 4 of them. And I keep saying this, so maybe somebody can repeat today just to see how much they're listening. You know the 4 things I talk about? Go
Family.
ahead. She says family. Yeah. For you, for her, it's mostly family. Yes. You remember that, which seems the strongest for us. Yes, yeah. So who can say all 4? Yes. Yes.
Relationships, body,
Yeah.
money.
Relationships is family. Yeah. Then
Relationships, body, money, and freedom. No,
yeah.
for the need for.
I sound like a school teacher now. It's just fun, actually.
What's the 4th one?
Yeah.
Okay, can I try? So the first one is body and health related issues. The second one is survival, financial,
Security.
stability,
Can we call it
security, these kind of issues. The third one is the relationship, with any kind of relationship,
Any special relation?
special relationships. And the last one is the freedom, means I want to be free, I want to find the self, I want to realize the truth, I want to be free from rebirths and these kind of things.
Basically, the seeker identity itself. So, the person is not really complicated, I like to say. In their life, it is usually just a mixture of these 4 variables which are affecting them, seemingly. Of course, they don't have any tangible or real existence. So, let's get back to this. He said, abide in awareness with no illusion of person. You will be instantly free and at peace. Let me also check on the Hangout and YouTube. I was wondering whether everybody logged off. How many buy this? Just this verse, which says, abide in awareness with no illusion of person. You will be instantly free and at peace. Just 2 out of is the sage sage Ashtavakra. I said, how many of you buy this idea that to abide in awareness with no illusion of person, you will be instantly free and at peace? No, you heard the question? Okay, one more hand went up. Ashtavakra is not offended at all. Okay, then he says, you have no caste or duties. No caste or duties, and this is something that was written many, many years ago in India, where there was something called the caste system, which we don't have to get into really. But you have no caste or duties, and these castes were then defined by their duties. You see? So one caste would do the prayers, one caste would do the fighting, one caste would do all the work, the manual work. So the caste system was divided in that way, and each were defined their particular dharma, which is their particular duties. They say you have no caste or duties, you are invisible, unattached, formless. You are the witness of all things. Be happy. You have no caste or duties, you are invisible, unattached, and formless. You are the witness of all things. So, we've discussed the person. So, unless the person was a reality, it is not possible to have a caste or then the duties of that caste. Then he goes on to describe what you really are. And he starts with, you are invisible. Yeah. Is that a big help? You see? Yeah. For those of you who are new to Satsang, but then if I'm invisible, then how do I find myself? You see? Because I'm looking for myself, and you are saying I'm invisible. So this must be a contradiction, isn't it? So who can tell us why this is not also in the Hangout? You can say something. Why is the invisibility not a contradiction to finding yourself?
Can I say something?
Yes,
Is there someone else?
yeah. I'm just reading this because the self is invisible. Yes, but if it is invisible, then is it possible to find something which is invisible? We are looking for the self, and the pointer is we are invisible. You see, and then Amba said, because you are yourself. Yes, but what does this mean? If I'm Janaka right now, yes. But invisible, then how do I realize this self? How do I realize myself?
I feel like it's such a beautiful pointer because it completely knocks the mind out of the park right away.
Yes.
Like you just have to leave it.
Yes. It's a very beautiful pointer because I say, please imagine something which is invisible. Can you do it?
Space.
Yeah? Can you imagine space? Only if you put a room around it. You see, it is not part of the functioning of the mind. Even if you were to imagine space, you will imagine a dark space. You cannot imagine a colorless space. Imagine something which has no attributes. Can you do it? Actually, take a minute and do it. You can. Something which has no attribute whatsoever. Can we think about it? Can we report something on it? So this invisible actually doesn't mean, I don't know what the original Sanskrit was, but the invisible doesn't just mean invisible in that sense of, the invisible man, but more in the sense of no attribute at all. You see, because invisible could still mean that it has some weight, it has some mass. You see, here we are talking about that which has no attributes. So, yeah.
As soon as you said invisible, what came to mind was it's not anything you're perceiving.
Yes, exactly.
On any level, because that's really, for me, I would say as much as believing thoughts is also the just basically identifying with some vibration or sensation or something like that, which gives weight to the personhood, the sense of personhood.
Yes, but the good thing is, like, Zia posted a quote today where she said that even with sensations, if they are just sensations, it is impossible to identify with them. You see, we must put a label. We must say that this is happening to me. There must be some at least subtle interpretation. You see, because the witness of a sensation is not identified with the sensation. You see? The sensations will still appear, but the identification is possible only. Identification itself means that I have a concept about the sensation. It is impossible to be conceptless about the sensation and yet be identified. You can then only be the witness, actually.
You mean to say that those beings whose mind is not that much alert, for example, let's say. So let's say like those life forms which are at the lower level in the animal kingdom, in which there is not much thought activity. So
you're presuming.
Yeah, like according to
Nobody.
National Geographic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So let's take Guruji's famous example. No? If you have the memory of a fish,
yeah.
Huh?
So
then the fish is not identified. So another fish. So let's just take Nemo and what is the new one? Dory. So Nemo and Dory are having a fight. Nemo gives Dory a slap, and then after 3 seconds, Dory is forgotten about it. So can it still be identified with that which received the slap?
Yes. So that's what I was saying, that identification is possible even without the mind, because I feel that identification is kind of
okay. You try this experiment on yourself, and if you report that it is possible for you to identify with something without the mind, then we'll take this in 5 minutes.
Can I just
Yes.
say as well that
Yeah.
It seems like you're absolutely right. Like you do have to believe something about it, but not every time. So it could feel like, say, there's a sensation now.
How do you connect with it? What do you mean to identify? To just be aware of it, or just to witness it? Would you call that an identification?
No.
Or what would you call an identification?
The identification is like just. So in the same way that initially the first concept taken is I am the body,
Yes.
and then on top of all the concepts I am the body, all the other concepts can come, like I am a plumber, I am 32 years old, I am this.
You can also contemplate whether it is truly, I know we've heard this from the most reliable sources, that the first concept we take is I am the body. It could be that the first concept we take is I am this person who owns this body.
Yeah, because
how do you know this? We're talking about knowledge with a capital K with no presumption.
Yeah,
yes,
so
if you finish, then Maria will come.
It's more that I'm that which owns this world.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are questioning that, no? We're questioning even the most hallowed things that we heard from.
No, I think first comes in childhood, just comes the idea that I'm contained in this somehow. And then if some sensation of pain comes, for example, that can just be felt and experienced, but then gradually some story creeps in somehow. So then...
And the story is already strong. Then to identify it takes a lot lesser, or does it take nothing at all?
No, so what I'm saying is I'm using that as like a side example. So in the same way that we originally believe I am this body, and then after that comes all the additional conditioning, and then once there's all the additional conditioning has come, it's almost like self-perpetuating. So then you can even take away the belief or really reduce the belief that I am this body. But because of the momentum of the mind's conditioning, it's almost so caught up in the I'm late for work and I'm this and I'm that and I need a relationship and I should get a new car. It actually, even the body itself starts to get neglected. So in the same way, initially there has to be some thought, say like, I'm having a headache, I want it to stop. But then at a certain point, even if that belief isn't re-believed somehow, it's kind of in the background, the sensation comes into the foreground. And so the majority of the attention is on the sensation. The belief is still there, but it doesn't have to be believed over and over and over and over again. It's almost like something inside just learns to accept that the sensations which are perceived within this body or seemingly belong to me. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't really feel like it has to be thought about that much, like continually. So what I meant by when I heard that, and it was the invisible, because obviously, I mean, I don't know this, but what's his name? The disciple, Janaka, he's in the process of being dismantled, basically, or his idea of himself is being dismantled. And so the dismantling doesn't have to be the same way that things were picked up.
Yeah.
And so, like, as from my own experience, often when I am suffering, just as I am, there is some belief going to thoughts, and there's also some resistance to sensations. And I don't find myself thinking about the sensations or particularly like engaging in any belief or something like that. But I just find there's a resistance to it because it feels like it's happening to me.
Yes. Just explore and contemplate, and I'm open to your conclusions about that. But just see if it is possible to be identified just by virtue of attention. Is to give our attention to something enough to give it an identification. Therefore, we must also have to make some belief, as minimal as it might be. You see, as I said, the leaf at least has to be tugged at for the tree to come. You see, if you had amnesia and your tree was not strong, then you'll have to really lift a lot of thoughts. You'll have to really tug at new or create new branches of belief. But now, what we're really saying is that when something is so deeply ingrained that I'm suffering from these headaches, or this is what's happening to me, is deeply ingrained as a identity, then to tug at that, it could just be as simple as, oh, here it is again, or something which is enough to say that, okay, I am identified again. Many times it could just be that we are not identified, just our attention is going to it, and it is not a pleasant experience, and that's why we say I'm identified, where actually it's just being watched. So if you wanted to say Maria, Shiv, and Petri.
Just I catch the identity fighting, Father.
See?
I catch like some awareness came, and I catch is just identity is fighting.
Yes.
It's the same old story, and picking up the old things, because you think you are just free if you, I don't know how was the. It's not me that gets angry with this, or sometimes it's this thing that struggles so much.
Yes. But even when the sensations are coming, that's what we were talking about. Unless
also this thing in my back.
Yes, any sensation. It could be this body-oriented, out-of-body sensation. Anything can be experienced. But unless we believe something about it, you see, it cannot really become an identification. Many times we are just giving our attention to something, and then the belief can come, oh, I'm identified with it. That was the only thought needed itself for us to be able to call that an identification. Otherwise, we are just witnessing it. Our attention is a functioning of our perceiving. You see? I mean, the perceiving happens through our attention. It is not enough to cause identification or personhood just because of attention.
So,
you want to say more?
No.
Sorry, I'm just still with what you were saying. So, suffering is caused by resistance, isn't it? Or suffering is resistance, basically. And suffering requires thought or belief in thoughts. But it feels like resistance doesn't.
Okay. So maybe difference in definition of resistance could be.
Yeah, and when I'm resisting something, it feels like I'm suffering.
Yes. So maybe
even if I'm not thinking about
resistance. Where for me, resistance means a non-acceptance of what is.
Yeah.
Is it possible to not accept what is without a thought? You see? So if it is energetic, so one sort of energy is coming, another sort of energy is happening. There's a Mahabharata of energies happening. I would still not call that resistance.
It's possible.
I would. Did you listen to what I said? Let me repeat. So one sort of energy is coming, another sort of energy is coming. You see, they're fighting like the Mahabharata. They're fighting. You see, I would still not call this the resistance. Maybe this part is what you're calling the resistance. You see? Something which is coming in resistance to this energetically is not what I mean by resistance. It is still not the ego yet. It is a normal functioning. The consciousness is functioning in this way. You see, their energies are coming, more energies are coming, and the play of this fighting
is happening, but it's still not the ego yet. This is not the resistance that I'm talking about. The resistance that I'm talking about is the thought which comes and says, but why does this happen to me? Or this should not be happening. Oh, see, I'm resisting again. And when that is bought, that is ego. You see? So the play of energetic movements which are constantly there in the body, whether we notice them or not, sometimes they're too subtle to notice. You see, this back and forth is always there. Lower energy is pushing downwards, higher energy is pushing upwards. It's constantly there. You see? So then we never be free from ego. Ego cannot be this. Ego must be that which labels even this and say, I don't want to experience this, or why does this happen to me, or when will it stop? Anything like that. Then we put the me in the picture. You see? Otherwise, it's just a movement of energy.
I think I've been somehow connecting.
The second one. Yeah.
It almost feels like it's the same egoic energy which either takes the form of a thought or takes the form of an energetic resistance.
Yeah.
Like it has two expressions or something like that. Because so even if there's, I can see
the identity would still not be born.
Yeah.
The sense of me would still not be there unless I get a me into the picture saying, I am suffering from this, or I am fighting this thing or something. There has to be at least some labeling happening.
Yeah, and who's to say that I'm anything to do with the second energy?
Exactly.
That's what I've been believing.
Yes.
I've been feeling like something is in my body.
Yeah.
The body.
And that is my real aspect of me or something.
Yeah, and it's trying to come out. It wants to come out. It wants to be released or something. And then there's something which is like desperately trying to keep a lid on it. And I've been looking at that second one, saying like, oh God, why can I not just?
Yes. But without this, even the label or any belief about the first or the second one, it could be hundreds of energies, but just to keep it simple, without this, it's just a play of energy which is happening. This movement is happening, but there is no me still in the picture who is the sufferer of any energies. This is a very important subtle point.
It was really subtle because already even when it is like very intense or something, I don't really feel like I suffer it anymore.
Yes.
There's just this allowing or something like that, but I guess it's like a conditional allowing it or something. It's like it feels like in allowing it, it should take place smoothly energetically or something, and actually the back and forth which happens, I can see
if there's still a sense of a me which is in a fight energetically, then we must see this, that okay, there's this belief which is here which still feels like I'm in some sort of energetic fight with some energy, you see, and to look at that, who is this me? You see, who is the one that is fighting? What control do I have over either of these? Then you'll find that you come to the witnessing perspective easier.
Because also today these energies are playing here also so strong. Today are playing so strong. And it was coming like that also I can use the anger to look. It may be stupid, but somehow the anger brought me to Satsang. And also this second time I came in India, it seems I was pushing a wall. The fear was so big of this idea that somehow I used the anger. And it's coming, okay, I cannot do nothing, you want to be here. Because when I just look, it comes strongly. It's not so subtle, you can know better than me. And it was coming like, okay, I really want freedom. It's the most important thing. The only thing in this moment I'm really interested in. So I will be here looking. You can fight until you want.
Very good.
But it will be not how you used to say, nothing remains forever. So okay, it was coming like, okay, I'm here for you, not for you. Looking,
so
and let's see.
Nothing lasts forever.
Forever.
Nothing lasts forever. Yet the I remains. Therefore, the I must be this no thing.
Yes, but it's like the rebellion in a good way, you know. It's coming. Okay.
Everything can be used. Everything can be used as fuel for our satsang.
Yes.
Very
Okay. Thank you, Father. Sorry, but it's difficult sometimes.
Yes. Yes. You want it?
The point that we were discussing earlier about is it the I am the body or is it I am the owner of the body? It seems it fluctuates. Because as a child, you don't have these owner concepts, and somehow growing up, this is your definition also. For example, you ask somebody, who are you? Tell their name. And if you ask for the first time, for example, in Satsang, what does that mean? They'll point to this. So it's like a mixture of I am the body, but in the language, we are using my body. In the language, we say my body. So it's a mixture of both things somewhere. I am the body and I am...
It's very closely interrelated. From the experience here, and I can't really remember from childhood, but from as far as I can remember, there's always been the sense that this is my body, which has been primary. But I'm sure it's completely possible for that to be the root identification. For many, it's possible, but not my experience. Okay. There was a request for a question.
Can I come in, Father?
Yes, Sultan is here. How can I refuse the birthday boy's question?
Does it show up on the link?
I don't hear you. Is there something wrong with our audio? Give me a second.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, try now.
Okay, how about now?
Yes, good, my dear. Happy birthday to you, firstly.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not sure. Does it show up on Google that it's my birthday?
It shows up on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. I'm jet lagged because I just got back from
the retreat.
Retreat. Yeah. So I'm up and I had a question and I wanted to see you. So here I am. But the Guruji's retreat kind of has brought up some things at home for me that I wanted to check in with you about. It's slightly off topic from what we're discussing, but I hope that's okay. But
it's okay.
Just every time I sit in retreat with him, there's just like this huge shift that takes place, and a lot of like energetic cleansing, and I just feel so connected, and it's the best. It's like a lot of like purging happening every day with crying, and just things are happening. I don't know why they're happening, but they're great. Like I feel insane and sane at the same time, and it's awesome. But what's happening is that at home it's creating some difficulties, and I know a lot of it is just mind, and it can just be ignored. But the reality is that it's causing some issues, because my wife is worried that I'm going to run off and become some sadhu in a cave somewhere, or that I'm not the same anymore, and I just want to sit in the room and stare at a wall kind of thing. And then when I try to be like, you got to try this stuff, it's the best drink ever. There's like, this is the best. Yeah, and then it's like, she doesn't want to drink it, so, or she wants small sips, kind of like, what can this do for the person kind of thing. At least that's my impression. I don't know how to deal with it, because it's causing I know it's my ego that gets into this teacher ego mode that wants to share this amazing thing with people, but and I know she's got a valid point. Like, she's just in her paradigm, and that paradigm is fine. There's no judgment about that paradigm, but it creates some tension, because I'm on like a completely different paradigm now, so I don't know how to deal with this. And of course it comes up right after Guruji's retreat, because all of those energies that he talks about that the forces are going to come to test your spiritual muscles. And I feel like just when the progress checker ego thinks that I'm doing well, then something comes to just keep beating me into submission. So I don't know how you would recommend addressing this.
This is something that I'm very, 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 very familiar with. You see, so I feel that most of us in marriages and special relationships have where both are not equally in satsang as much, have experienced this in some form or the other. Now, a few things that have helped me is one, I don't know whether I told you this earlier, but I had a similar question when I went to Ramesh Balsekar. I used to go to him many years ago before I met Guruji. And I had put the same question to him, saying that, yes, all this is helping me so much, and the inquiry, and we're looking at this, but I cannot have a single conversation about my wife, about who I am, who am I, these kind of things. She's just not interested. And he said that you don't have to go to her with this at all. You must wait for her to come to you when she's ready. So many times it can feel like we have the solution to somebody that we care about, and they're going through some things in life, and we feel like, oh, the inquiry is the best solution. So all I have to do is tell her, just ask yourself, who is this suffering? You see? And that is probably one of the worst things that you can do. I realize now. I've taken this example.
It's being an Advaita jerk when you're like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say next. So this is the first thing that helped me. And second, when I read Adya talking about the spiritual jerk, where he said that it is completely possible that everything that is coming out of your mouth is true, but you're still being a jerk. You see? And I'll take an example of this, and I've taken the same example many times, which is that I remember this one evening where my wife was telling me about her day and how some things were bothering her, and she was trying to just talk to me, and I was saying, but who is suffering from this? Who's getting bothered? You see? And I'm actually happy that she didn't throw a plate at me. Because it can be very infuriating if you don't want to inquire at that point of time. You just want to share with your partner, your life partner, that this is, you just want a shoulder to cry on, basically. You don't want a Guruji telling you, let's inquire, who am I? You see? So then what happened is, when I heard these things, I realized that it's always, if there is suffering here, then there is something that I am believing about myself. Inevitably, you see. Otherwise, what happens really is that in the moment, when the moment is met with complete openness, the right response, the loving response, the kind response usually comes up on its own. It is when we want to navigate it in a particular way, when we want to lead our partners into some way, and it can be with good intent, because we are finding joy in it, we are finding peace in it, but everybody has their own steps that they would like to take. And most, actually, what happens with them is not that they are not smart enough to understand this. I feel what happens with most is, when they hear words of satsang, they recognize the truth in it, but something in them says, no, I'm not ready to leave the matrix yet, or something like that.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Like, she's watched, I've watched about a lot of satsang with her, so she gets it, and she sees the results in everybody else. Like, there's a bunch of friends who actually started watching Guruji, and they are like thanking me all the time and thanking Guruji, but then there's some tension that comes up that, like, this involves dying to myself, or it involves not loving my nieces and nephews and my mother anymore because I'm the self, or just like some weird thing. So the evidence is all there. So there, and my other question, my question following from that is I know what you're saying about even if I stop, let's say I stop being completely dissociated from giving her advice, which is the right thing to do, which feels right to me. She's worried that, you know, something dramatic is going to happen, that I'm going to quit my job and just want to stare at a wall or something for a while. And I feel like that might happen. I don't know where this is going, and I completely trust God. And I know that, you know, God is going to take care of it however it happens, but anything can happen. Like, so I don't know how to give her the consolation that I'm not just going to be staring at ants on the veranda somewhere, you know?
This is a very good point also, because if you notice, especially in a marriage and these special relationships, we usually fight about the things where we are scared that what the other one is saying might actually be true, you know. So, and you'll see that if someone was saying, "Oh, I saw you in this place yesterday in this restaurant, and you weren't there," you see, you're just clear that you weren't there, so it doesn't affect you. But if someone says, "Oh, I know what you're going to do. You're just going to leave your job. You're just going to leave us like this. We're just going to become poor, aren't we?" Then these things push some buttons, you see, because there's some fear about this happening here for it to be able to push a button from there, and it is probably the last thing we want to hear, because we're trying to hide that fear away in ourselves because we don't know what's going to happen here, you see. So this becomes a very strong mirror for us to sit and say, okay, I don't know about this, so what is my real feeling about this? Because we can Advaita it away and say, no, but I'm the self and nothing will happen to me if I quit my job, you see, or if I have to sell my house or something like this, we can say. But really what happens when we hear these things, we must be able to look at those things and see, okay, is there still some juice in this? Is there still some identity with this? Who is the me? Who is the I who might quit their job? Who is the I who might have to live in different conditions? You see? So, and I found that it never ever here made any sense when I was trying to fix it on the outside. You see? It always only made sense when I looked at what was happening on the inside. You know, we are speaking very regularly about outside and inside. So when I started looking at what was playing here, what was it that happens when my wife says something versus someone who I've just met when they say something? Why is it that if I'm completely in the moment, why am I not living completely fresh with this one who shows up right now? You see? So I've also shared that, in fact, even after I started sharing Satsang, we had this beautiful conversation, my wife and I, one day we were just talking in the evening, and she said something and I reacted in a very husband type of way. And she said, but if it was somebody who would come to Satsang and ask you this, you would have reacted very differently. And I looked at that and I said, yes, it is true. There is still identity playing in this husband and wife relationship, you see. And that was a very good mirror for me to be able to look and to see that why is it that when she said this, my reaction was very identified as a husband saying this, whatever, you see, versus if someone who had come to Satsang maybe for the first time, if they had said something like this, I would have looked at that completely fresh. So these special relationships are very, very deeply ingrained, and they are, after the master, I've said many times that our marriage or our special relationships are sometimes our best teachers. So we must be able to.
That's exactly what happens.
Yes.
Something in me rises where it's like I can save her.
Yes.
Or, you know, or like I can, I want to make her better or something, like, because she's close to me. Like, there's definitely some identity playing that I want her to try this beverage that's like the best beverage, because then it'll somehow reinforce my choice of beverage, you know. Or
like you said, she's not drinking the Kool-Aid right now, so you can't force it down her throat.
Yeah. And then there's also some identity that's like, okay, if she drinks the Kool-Aid, then we're both going to be on the same page, and then the path is somehow going to become easier for me. Okay.
It's very common. It's very common. It can feel like when we are in these situations, it feels like, why do I have to go through this? Why can't I have a more understanding partner or something like this? But I feel that actually you will also look at these situations in the future. Maybe it's too close to it right now to be able to say this, but you will be able to look at it and say that I'm so glad that this was how the marriage was, because it showed me a lot of jerkiness which was still playing here. It showed me a lot of concepts which were playing here. You see, so we don't have to renounce any relationship. We don't have to renounce our homes, nothing, and we don't have to try and fix anything on the outside. See what it is that's still able to push our button. Why is it that somebody in the hangout that you don't know might say, "Oh, Furkan, are you going to sell your house now, or are you going to quit your job now?" And it has no effect on you because you don't really know them, you see. But if your wife was to say the same thing, you would have a reaction of some sort, you see. So what is it? It is still for us to look at our identity, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some fear maybe playing there that, you know, how are we going to deal with the finances, or some things like that. That's still happening. Yeah.
I'll also tell you another thing which will give you some reassurance. So what happened is something similar like this happened when I met Guruji first time. So when he went away to UK, he used to live in the UK at that time. Then for 3-4 months, I didn't feel like doing any work for a long time. So parents were getting worried. My wife was getting worried, and she would see me, and actually, just like Guruji says, you're feeling so much joy, but outwardly it might look like you're depressed or something. So she would say, "Are you so sad? What's happening with you? Why are you so depressed? Why aren't you working?" You see? So all these fears, after 3-4 months of coming from Thiru, then one day it just became a lot where parents were also ganging up with my wife, and they were all like, "What about your work? What about your stuff?" Everybody. so
It's
then I wrote
happening here because I don't want to go out anymore, and all the friends and my wife, they're all worried, and it's like I feel sane, guys. Like I feel sane now.
Yes, but you sound insane. That is the problem. So then one day what I did is that I wrote to Guruji and said, "So I'm very happy. I'm just so happy. But I want to tell you that the family is worried and things like this are happening because I'm losing interest in work." And he said something very beautiful. Actually, he told Garima also in person when actually my naming ceremony was happening that time. And she asked him, "But what about his work? He's losing interest." And he said, and the same thing he said in the mail also, that which is unfolding for him can never be bad for those who are around him. In fact, it will bless everyone. You see? So just know that this is true. This which is unfolding for you will never turn out badly for your friends, your family. They are all part of this grace, and they are well taken care of by the same grace. So it will not turn out badly for any of you. You see? This doesn't mean that we have an idea of how it should turn out, because we can have an idea of what well or badly means. But keeping these ideas aside, you will come to a place where you will see that all of this that happened was purely grace, and everyone, your partner, is also completely taken care of in this situation.
I'm so excited to show her the response tomorrow morning.
With no expectations is okay.
She wanted me to ask you this, so I think she'll be curious because there's been a lot of it's like I'm kind of swimming in this really nice blissful state, but something in the ego keeps bringing me back to fight this battle with her. And so this was something we needed to bring up. So I'm glad I did it today.
Also, if it is a little reassuring for everyone, just know that even financially, ever since I met Guruji, I've never really had any trouble. It has never been a case where there was the kids needed something or my wife needed something and we weren't able to afford it. I feel even in the worldly sense, grace has taken care of all of this. You see? But I said, but primarily I'm saying that we must not have an idea of how things must turn out. I'm just sharing from my experience that it has not been exclusive in that way that you have to become a hermit or we have to, we have to become like fakirs begging on the road. It will turn out exactly the way it is meant to, with full grace and blessings to everyone involved.
So this isn't like it's perfectly normal for me to just want to sit in my room and do my thing, right? Like I don't have to. Would you say that that's okay and like not want to have to get pulled and go out and watch movies and do these things to please other people? Like I just say no, even if it means being unkind and sometimes unresponsive. Like I'm like this is just what I want to do,
Let me also say a few things about this one, because when I look back at that time, and even Guruji talks about this sense of the time where we were just sitting, you see, and I also look back at that time, and the best I can say about that time is I was just sitting. You see, like you were saying that you're just sitting and watching the paint dry or something. You see, but when that was happening, I did not have the sense that I'm just sitting. You see, it was not like I'm doing the sitting. You see, it was just what was happening then. It was just flowing that way, but it was not making a conclusion about the next moment or the next day, or not wanting to go out for a movie in the evening. It was not making any sort of ideas about how this phase should be. You see? So make no conclusions about what should happen now. You don't know what the next moment is going to bring. You don't know, next moment you might find so much life energy in your body that you feel like going out and meeting your friends and sharing the love, something. You never know what can happen, and that makes it fresh, you see. So you don't go with the conclusion that I've just
there seems to still be some identity, because that it is my preference. It's my preference because it's not something like, when Papaji says, like, I see the slippers walking out the room and I just hop in them. Like, it's not like that kind of moment to moment thing that's happening, but I'm just finding in general my preferences of activities has changed. But I can't tell you that this is something that's just completely unfolding without any doership, because there still seems to be a doer that wants to sit and meditate because it feels good, that kind of thing.
Yes. So even for things like meditation or just sitting in silence, life actually knows what it is doing. It will make enough space for us to be able to do that. But we don't have to become strongly attached to even that. You see? Keep it very light. Even our preferences, we can keep them very light. You see? So then you'll find that in the simple allowing of things to unfold, you'll find that it becomes easier. You see? So we are not going from one way of life to another way of life. We are allowing life to unfold in a new way if it has to, but we just be a little careful about making any conclusions about yourself. You see? Just see what is it that wants to be a certain way. If there is something that wants to be a certain way, if not, it's okay. It's completely fine. If you're just fresh, if you're saying that I don't know what my evening is going to turn out today, you see, anything. It could be that my wife comes and says, hey, let's go for a movie. I don't know whether yes will come out of my mouth or no. You see? Then that becomes a lot more simpler, easier. Otherwise, you're still taking some position, you see.
Right, that makes sense. But I've just noticed that before there used to be this intense energy of how can I suck the juice out of my week by doing as much.
How can I?
how can I suck the juice
So yes, yes,
out of my
yes, yes,
by getting as
yes.
much done as possible, or do, and it's just like it doesn't, like I have no desire to suck the juice. So I think I'm just going through an oscillation where before it was so intense, wanting to get every moment accounted for and planned on the calendar, and like 20 activities in a week. So I think I'm just going through a period of oscillation where it's like the other extreme has become very nice, you know?
Yes.
So I think with what you're saying is allowing it to unfold in the moment will just automatically happen when this oscillation sort of ends, you know?
Yes. Because that is when, yes, that is when we are coming from our true neutrality, you see. The mind does not fathom neutrality. The mind says, okay, this way or that way, and usually it comes up with the opposites. You see, so the pendulum swings in that way, the oscillation that you're talking about. But if you're coming from this place of neutrality, then every moment can bring just anything, and that's what makes this movie so fresh. You see, this living realm so fresh, because it's allowed to unfold without any burden of this is the way it should be or not. I'll tell you another Guruji story to emphasize the point. You might have heard this one also. He says that one evening he was very tired of satsang and meeting people and so many visitors. So one evening he just wanted to spend by himself. So he said, today no visitors. I'm not going to open the door. I'm just going to go. And he's he's very English in some ways, no? So he's going to put the baths. So he put the bath on, got the water in the bath running. Then just as he was relaxing into the bath, what happened? The bell rang. So he said, no, not today. So sitting in the bath, he's saying, no, not today. Today is the day where I just unwind, relax. And then a few minutes later, some sense occurred to him saying, who do you think you are that you want to plan your evening? You see? And this idea came that, who are you to say that my evening should go like this? And this inquiry started for him, and he said, no, I'm just going to be open to whatever happens. And open doesn't mean that I have to do it this way or the other, but we don't have a position that today is just going to be in the bath, me alone. So he came to that place of neutrality, and he says that a few minutes later the bell started ringing again, and this time he opened the door, and some of his very good friends, they walked in the door, and he said it was the best evening he ever had. You see, but that evening would not have gone like that if he had just forced his preference upon it. So this is openness to not to we can have a light preference saying, okay, there are no visitors, maybe I just unwind and relax. You see, but when something is pushing, then from a space of real openness, then we can decide whether the feet are opening the door or whether we're still not opening. We can leave that up to the one doer. That is real non-doership. This is these small things is where the rubber hits the road. You see, it is not like life is waiting for the big event to happen where I can really show life I'm not the doer. It is these small things.
Right. That's a really great story, because I've been reading Osho's book, The Tantra Supreme Understanding, and he said this kind of flexibility to remain loose and natural is necessary, because even if you say I'm going to be 100% honest, some situations you have to make little white lies, you know, to protect people's feelings. So if you are just 100% anyway, then you're not open to what the universe is trying to unfold through you. So yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, my dear. Hope you have a very beautiful birthday. And I know Guruji's grace is always upon you and your family and friends. May you always shine in his light. And may all of these small things just continue to be mirrors for you. And may you Father in your heart.
And you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you too. So we had a plan. I also had a plan, just that we are going to do the Ashtavakra Gita. It is very good because we came to defining the person, so we can, and we talked about usually the 4 sources of trouble for the person. So I feel this is a very good example about relationships and how we can be neutral and open in even these situations. Very good.
Father?
Yes, yes, my dear, I can hear you. I don't see you.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Still not there. But maybe it
Okay,
takes a
now.
while for the video to come.
Father?
No, just the icon. But you can ask.
Yeah, Father, actually, I'm in a very negative frame of mind just right now, and feeling very frustrated because I keep wondering why is this awakening not happening? And I mean, what does it take to make this awakening happen? And why does it happen? And how much do I have to wait for this?
Sometimes I hear some of you and I feel like I want to play the baseball game. Yeah, sometimes when I hear like that, I feel like I want to play the baseball game. And I was very happy once even Anil posted this, that Papaji also said something like the cricket game, hit it out of the park. You see? So I don't know whether you know of this baseball game that we came up with many years ago. It just very naturally, not obsessively or making a practice out of it or something. Just like a fun thing. What we did was we closed our eyes and we imagined that we are a baseball player waiting for the next pitch to come, and the next pitch would be the next thought that comes, and as soon as the thought would come, we would smash it out of the park. Yeah. So this just came up in Satsang one day, and I was very happy to see that Papaji also spoke about cricket like that. He said he loves cricket because the balls are like thoughts, so you just hit them out of the park. Sometimes I feel like we are too nice to our thoughts, and the thought comes, oh, why am I not awakened yet? Why it's not happening for me? Just take your bat and whack it out. Can you do it? Just whack it out. Yeah. It's nothing. It's just some energy. Minute, measly energy. Yeah. I'm saying you are free now. You're buying the thought, why am I not free, is making you not free. Primarily the freedom from our stories. So if not awakening is your story right now, forget it. Forget about any concept of awakening and whether you are awake or not. Okay, so if I say you are free now, what is your response?
No, it's hard to believe.
But the mind says you want to believe. You see? So then you have 2 teachers sitting over there. You see? And we are sharing, like, I'm half on the chair, the mind is half on the chair. We're sharing the Guru chair. One is saying, you are free, you are free, you are free. The mind is saying, you are bound, you are bound, you are bound. Which one are you going to believe?
You are bound.
At least you're honest. Okay. If you believe that you are bound, show me how you are bound. Show me bondage right now. Which chain is there? Right now, without thinking about it, show me the chain. And I wish I had some video.
I'm psychologically bound.
What is this big word psychologically? I don't know. Another way of saying mind only, no? Same thing. Unless you buy something from the mind, show me some bondage without buying a thought.
But Father, why is there a tendency to believe in the thought?
Because the habit has been to play this game. You want to play the seeker game? We can play for another 50, 60 years. I don't know. No, let's see how long this body stays. But what is the game you want to play? Right now, what is the game you want to play? You want to play the seeker game? I would rather you play the looker game. Can you look right now and show me what is really bound?
Something in me is bound. I can't pinpoint what exactly.
Okay, till you can pinpoint it out. Till then, can you not believe it? Only till then. You see, it's like saying that I have some mystery disease. I'm not suffering from anything right now, but I just feel like I have a mystery disease. So I say, okay, till we at least get the diagnosis properly and discover what the disease is, till then can we feel like we are not diseased?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you one more thing. The minute you find the person, you can believe yourself to be that person. Till then, at least, can you not believe it? Bondage means what? That I am a person, no?
Yeah.
So if you find this one, you have full license permission from me also. You believe yourself to be that person. But at least till you don't find it, till then you don't believe it, no? The seeker identity can be very troublesome. You see. Why am I not getting free? Why am I not getting free? How to make someone who is not bound, how to free them? Okay, so suppose you are the patient and I am the doctor. You say, I feel like I'm suffering from something. I say, we've done all the tests. I don't find any ailment. Then you say that, please treat me, make me better. I say, but I don't find the ailment. You see? How should I treat? I can only say that you're just believing that you're diseased, but you're not finding any disease, you see. So if you say, oh, but I think I am bound or I feel I am bound, then we can continue to think we are diseased and feel we are diseased. No doctor can help us then, isn't it?
And Father, how much can surrendering help? Surrendering all the
It doesn't help at all if you're surrendering, keeping your person as a surrenderer. It won't help at all. That is just deal making. If surrendering is done with the expectation that it should help, it is not a surrendering, it is a deal making. If you are surrendering to Master or to God because I want something in return, then would you call this a surrender? Surrender must mean that It's all your problem now. Whatever has to happen, let it happen. Then there is no measuring of how much it had helped or not helped.
So does it work, Father?
It doesn't work, my dear. Nothing works for the person. It's like you say, I'm suffering from something. I say, we've tested, but no, I don't find this. Then you say, how should I get rid of the disease? Can I do it through surrender? I say, but you are free already. And then you say, okay, but what if you were to give me a medicine anyway? So I give you one placebo. You see, I give you a placebo, and then you say, will the placebo work? You see, for the placebo, if I was a trickster doctor, I would say, yes, it's very powerful. You see? But unless you let go of this idea that something has to happen for you, you see, that I am a person and something should take my suffering away. I am this entity and something should make life of the entity better. Nothing is going to work because this perspective itself is wrong. Why do you want to discover the self?
To get rid of all the suffering and pain.
Yes, but if it was only about not suffering, then I've already told you that you have the full power to not believe your next thought, and without believing your next thought, you cannot suffer. You want to be able to believe your thoughts and also not suffer. Because very quick we believe the thought, but even belief is just happening, you see.
Father, is it really possible not to believe the next thought? Is it possible?
Why would I keep saying it every day for 3 years? Am I that kind of a sadist? I say something for every day for 3 years, and just so that you would go back frustrated and upset and say, "Yeah, it's just not possible." You believe every thought that crosses your head?
Most of them.
What about the ones that you don't? You're able to not believe them, no?
But they are really very few. Like most of the time,
Yes, but
there's a belief.
okay, so suppose the thought came that you are in Dubai right now. Would you believe it?
No.
So, if you wanted to pretend as if you were in Dubai right now, could you do it?
No.
Yes, you would. If you were playing with a small child and you were playing that you landed in Dubai, you would be able to pretend, and you would wait for your Dubai thoughts to come, so that the game would become more real. You see? How do you play doctor with children? You have to believe some thoughts about being a doctor. No? What would a doctor do? How would a doctor examine their patient? So this power of belief is there with us. We can pretend to be whatever. Now we have been pretending to be this non-existent person for so long that the thoughts themselves are saying, but how can you not believe your thought? Start by not believing this thought. There is no other way to identify. Okay, can we at least do one thing? Just do one thing.
Yeah.
Believe your thoughts. Just 3 thoughts in a day you don't believe. Possible?
I try.
I can create a gymnasium sort of plan. Day 1, light workout. Okay. So if surrender seems too difficult, because to not believe our next thought is to be surrendered. You see, if that seems to be too difficult, then what about inquiry? When we've inquired together, have you not had the recognition of what we are speaking about?
Yes.
You have had, no? Now, which thought applies to that one which you discover yourself to be? No thought applies, no?
No.
Or does some thought apply to the awareness? So one of them must be false. Either you must not be the awareness, but you are recognizing when you check that I am this awareness, or the thoughts must not be telling the truth about what you really are. Both cannot be true. Either you are awareness, or you are who your thoughts are telling you you are. But when you check, what do you find yourself to be?
I'm awareness.
Now tell me, what is the trouble? Who is bound?
The identity is bound.
Where is the identity if you are awareness? Identity only means that I believe myself to be a person.
Yes.
But if you see that I am awareness, then where is the identity? It is gone.
But Father, why such a long wait for awakening, Father? Why
What do you mean
doesn't
by
it
awakening?
happen instantly?
What do you mean by awakening?
Dropping of the I.
But you just said I am awareness. It is not that the dropping takes time. It is because you keep picking it up, you see. The dropping happened already now. Now. You have to pick it up to pretend to be Prachi. See, what happens is that if we have two masters, one is the one whose voice you're hearing in the hangout now, and one is the one sitting in our heads, then this can become a very long seeming journey. Because one thing you'll listen from here, one thing you'll listen from there. Just a long stroll on this spiritual path. What is the paragraph you were reading? You were reading something so strong. It said, abide in awareness with no illusion of person, you will be instantly free and at peace. I haven't said this, Ashtavakra has, at least believe him. Abide in awareness with no illusion of person, You will be instantly free and at peace. And what you have to do to abide in awareness also I said, nothing. Just don't buy the illusion of personhood. Just don't buy the idea that you are this entity, non-existent entity. Why would they say things like this if it was not true? Why would Ashtavakra make up a story and make up just so that it can sound like good poetry? No. He's saying you will be instantly free and at peace. So when you checked right now and said, I am awareness, were you free or not?
Yeah.
That's it then.
But then why do I keep picking up the identity again and again? Why
That you have
doesn't
to
it
tell me.
happen forward?
So first you drop this one. Drop this one. What you are unable to drop, you tell me. The first one you are able to drop, why doesn't it happen fast? That one is gone or no?
Yeah.
Okay, now what next? Can you become bound without picking up the next? And when you say that I'm not able to drop it, what to do with that one? I've said many times, take that into your inquiry and say, who is this? Who is the seeker? Who wants to be free? Can we find that one?
No.
So if you can't find that one, why we have to cater to that one? So two very beautiful things you said. When you check, you find that you are awareness, and when you check, you cannot find that one. So will you go with what you actually do find, or will you go still with that one which you cannot find?
That which can be found.
Okay. Now that one is bound. That one wants to be awakened.
No.
Then let's stop catering to that one which we cannot find. That's why I said, if one day you find that one, you bring her to me, and I'll give you full license to believe you that you can believe that you are that one. Deal?
Deal.
Something is still not. I can't see the video, so I can't make out from your eyes whether it's a real deal or not. The rest can see her on video? It's only me? Or nobody can see? Nobody.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, my dear. Okay, two questions from Serenity on YouTube. Which desires to follow and which to witness? What do you mean when you say, don't believe your thoughts, not act on it? So let's unravel this a little bit. A thought is only an energy construct which is appearing and disappearing. This we must check first. You must look closely at what thoughts are. How do you perceive your thoughts? What is a thought? Check now. Wait for the next thought to come. And I know that very naturally, as we look at the mind and say, I'm waiting for thoughts to come, for most of us, they start to become quiet and not show up at all. But they do come eventually. So as they come, you will find that there are these two forces, as I call them, that can interact with this energy. First is the power of our attention. And that which gets our attention seems to be alive, seems to exist for us. You see? But the thought could say anything. The thought could say, there is a green apple in my fridge right now. So attention can go to it. There is a green apple in my fridge right now. But just because attention went to it, are we identified with it? Or you spoke about desire, so let's take a thought like that. I want to eat a green apple. You see? Just because attention went to it, does it automatically become a belief? Does it automatically become a desire, which is nothing but a strongly believed concept? So I want to eat a green apple. With the interaction of our attention and our belief, depending on how much belief has been given to it, it becomes a desire or not. You see? Now, this is the root of all spiritual practices, because most spiritual practices teach us that we must not give these thoughts our attention. We must keep our thoughts on our breath, or must in Hatha Yoga keep the attention on the breath, or keep attention on the body, or keep attention on a mantra, or keep attention, as Maharaj said, on the presence I am. You see? But I have to speak from my own experience, and I can tell you that here at least, these attempts to just keep attention away were largely unsuccessful. They would happen for some time, and then attention would go back to these thoughts. So I cannot tell you that which did not work here, but I can tell you that to not give it belief seemed to be much simpler here. So when the thought comes, it is allowed to just come and go. Even if attention goes to it, it's fine. We are not serving it tea, you see. So when the Zen master said, allow thoughts to come and go, just don't serve them tea, this is all that it could have meant. Because even to say that thoughts come and go needs our attention, you see. Therefore, in the allowing of them to come and go, attention must go on them. But at least we are not giving them our belief. We are not serving them this tea. So this simple allowing is a surrendered life. Now, does this mean that just because we are not believing these thoughts which are lying and saying that I am this individual entity, does then life have to become boring, vegetative, or irresponsible, reckless? It doesn't have to be either. You see? Because that which is running the life now has been always the one running the life. It has been a delusion that I was the doer, because we cannot even find this personal I that can do something. So that which we cannot find and does not exist definitely cannot do anything. That's why I say that God is not waiting for our surrender. He has been running our life. All of this play has been His play. So surrender is not a doing, it is a recognition of the reality of how this realm plays. You see? So just like I am not the thinker of my thought, I am also not the doer of my actions. Depending on the perspective. This I, when we say I am not the thinker or the doer, I am talking about a personal I. But if I was to say that I am that I am, then I am the only doer and I am the only thinker. All move only through my will. And if I was to say I is this awareness which witnesses even I am, then I would say that this I remains as the untouched witness by any of this movement. That is why I say that the only end to this debate about doership and what to do or what not to do is first see who we are. You see? Who would be the doer? Who would be the actor when you say not act on it? Is there an individual there who has the power of action? Or is it another part of this great big seeming, you see? As Guruji says, this great big seeming. I seem to be the thinker, I seem to be the actor, but this I itself doesn't seem to exist at all. Okay, I went on a long tirade. I don't know where that came from, but hopefully it was helpful somewhere. So we continue Ashtavakra tomorrow. Say the mic.
Father, I have sent you one copy on Sanskrit also. I have
So I won't be able to read that in Sanskrit. Okay, my dear, thank you.
Not purely Sanskrit. Each word in the
Yeah.
Sanskrit is explained. And then there is a para.
Thank you, my dear. I'll have a look.
Do you remember the story that Guruji sometimes tells of Janaka, that when he was still a seeker, he had this great love for truth, and so he got together all the greatest philosophers and wise men of the land, and Janaka came there. You remember? Could you tell us?
No. You see?
So he came there, and all these great philosophers were mocking him because of his crippled body, and they were laughing so much. And then he joined, and he like even laughed louder than all of them, all the other ones. And the other ones like, "Why are you laughing?" Because you are thinking on this body. It's so hilarious.
Wonderful story. So he said that Janaka had called all the great sages, philosophers from all the lands because he wanted to know the truths. And along with all these great sages, also it is said that Ashtavakra was quite young when he had this interaction with Janaka. It was this young sage who was disoriented at 8 places in his body. So everybody was mocking him, making fun of him, laughing, saying, "You are just this small young boy and your body is like this." They were mocking him. And then he started laughing the loudest. So everyone said, "Why are you laughing?" Because he said, "Because I'm laughing at you, believing that I am this body." Beautiful story.
Something very interesting, like you were saying,
Huh?
After this, when he started
Laughing?
louder than others,
Yeah.
then everyone asks, "Why are you?"
Is it on?
And
Yeah.
so he said that line, and this line also, that none of you who are present here is having a real seeing of these things. You are just talking about it like a knowledge that you have gathered from somewhere. And so something like this, he kind of insulted the entire group of philosophers and the great people. And so the king Janaka got very, very angry, and he said that you better substantiate, otherwise whatever leftover you have in the body, that too won't be there.
I can imagine.
And that he invited Janaka to come to a certain place, and then
Do we sing something? Yeah, if you want.
No, it's not.
Well, the drums are the same as the harmonium. Huh? Is that what he said? Oh, guitar in Egypt. That sounds similar. At least not the drum and the harmonium. Okay, I'm going to put it on the internal mic now.
Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Guru Dev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Sri Murti Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Sri Murti Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Sri Murti Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Sri Murti Jaya Bhagava Shivaya Jaya Bhagava Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Om Namo Shivaya Gurudev Namo Ananda Nanda Nanda Govinda Nanda Nanda Gopala Gopala Nanda Nanda Ananda Nanda Nanda Govinda Nanda Nanda Gopala Gopala Nanda Nanda Ananda Nanda Nanda Govinda Nanda Nanda Gopala Gopala Nanda Nanda Ananda Nanda Govinda Nanda Nanda Gopala Gopala Nanda Nanda Ananda Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Govinda, Govinda, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda, Govinda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala, Gopala, Nanda Nanda, Ananda Nanda Nanda, Govinda Nanda Nanda, Gopala.
That's one very similar to Govinda. Govinda, Gopala, Krishna, Govinda. Hey.
Fantasy.
Without music, Govinda.
Yes, of course.
Govinda, 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 Govinda. 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 Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om. Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om. Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om. Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om.
Govinda, 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 Govinda. 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 Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om. 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 Govinda, 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 Govinda. 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 Gopala Krishna, Govinda Hari Om. 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 Govinda, 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 Govinda. Govinda, 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 Govinda. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Radha, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Radha Madhava, Yashoda Nandana, Brijajana Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, Brijajana Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, Brijajana Nandana,
Yashodanandana Brajajanandana Yamuna Tira Vihari Yamuna Tira Vihari Jai Vihari Yamuna Tira Vihari Jai Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jai Virdhari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Yashodanandana Vrijjanandana Yashodanandana Vrijjanandana Yamuna Tira Vihari Yamuna Tira Vihari Jai Kunja Vihari Jai Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunjavani, Ananta, 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 Ananda, Ananta, 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 Ananda, Ananta, 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 Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, Shiva Shiva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Shiva 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 Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Mahadeva Shambho Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga, Jai Ganga Ma, 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 Jai Ganga Ma, Jai Ganga Ma. Jai Ganga Ma, Ama Ama Ama, Jai Ganga Ma, Ama Ama Ama, Jai Ganga Ma, Ama Ama Ama, Jai Ganga Ma, Jai Ganga Ma, Jai Ganga Ma, Jai Ama ama ama, Jai Gangama. Ama ama ama, Jai Gangama. Ama ama ama, Jai Gangama. Jai Gangama.
Sorry, Father, that was so tough.
You know the rest of it.
Amen.
Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Radhe 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 Shyam, Radhe 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 Shyam, Govinda Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Govinda Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Govinda Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Govinda Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Radhe Radhe Shyam, Radhe 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 Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam, Gopal Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Can we say that sounds like? Hi, Amber. Hi, Amber.
Battery is big. Shows your stomach.
Yes.
We see broadcasting.
For all those who didn't know.
Oh. Oh.
Thank you also very much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Mujiji ki
Jai. Jai.
Even the broadcast is still. But wasn't heard.
Thank you, Claire, my dear, for moderating today. So we can end the broadcast now.